Fine. You're doing fine. I love it, Rio Obscura. Thanks for joining us today on the stream. We're just about to jump into doing some code. And look at that. They got, that's our discussion over here. Yeah. So yeah, we're about to jump into doing minimal APIs with .NET 6. So if you haven't installed .NET 6 install, make sure you go and grab it. We're just about to release RC1. So I think Preview 7 is going to be the last one that we see before we go into RC1, release candidate 1, and it's getting there. You know, we're a month and a half away from .NET Conf. Hopefully we'll be there to do a session as well, me and JP. I submitted some stuff. When is .NET 6 in LTS? Was it November? Yeah, it goes into full support. Like, it's full supported now, but it will be GA. I suspect that's what you're asking, Bolt. It will be GA in November as part of the .NET Conf. By the way, .NET Conf is just around the corner again. .NET Conf. It is on November 9th and 11th. Expect to drop the GA there unless something horrible goes wrong and we have to push back. But I know that everyone is heads down trying to make the release happen. So .NET 6 launch, there you go. It's a commitment. It's a public commitment. We're hoping to have the release there. And I'm hoping to have a session or 2 or 3. Let them know. Let the people know that you want to see me on .NET Conf. Talking about identity, of course, or security, right? So yeah, .NET Conf is coming. So .NET 6 is there. And I've been playing with that for some time. I know that most of our samples have not really been updated .NET 6 yet, which sucks. But our team is also working on those. And hopefully we'll have everything updated by the time that GA hits. So when you come to look at the samples, you have the latest and greatest to play around with. Now, from an identity perspective, nothing really changes much, other than maybe for minimal APIs that we'll look today, that there's a different kind of format on how you do them. But at the same time, nothing really changes much from Microsoft.Identity.Web. You still get all the goodness of Microsoft.Identity.Web in .NET 6, and therefore very little code to write. And with that, let's get into the code. Oh, before I start writing the code though, I need to drop the, where is it? Where's the one that we do codes? Where's that? The one that we do all the work. See, I hate this stream because I can't have labels on my segments. That's not the ICIT Pro. So I think it's this one. I'll drop it, whatever happens. It could be random. There you go. How about that? It's professional work, my friends. We've paid people to do this. It's no joke. Right. So we need to create a new .NET API 6. And let's check my version. Make sure that I have the latest and greatest that we need. So .NET. That's us. Nope. No. It's not my day. I need more coffee. I've got Preview 7, so I've got the latest. Ooh, branding. Yeah, man. We done branding. Of course. We're pros, you know? Right. So we got the latest and greatest. So now we can do .NET new. And then if you don't know what I do, you can do help. New. Let's leave it at that. Ooh, that's minimalist kind of thing, don't you see? .NET new list. Ah, there you go. They've added .NET new list. Okay, .NET new dash list. And there you have it. Now, you might notice like two. These are the custom templates that we have from Identity.Web. You probably not need them anymore because they're embedded into the normal templates, but I've been playing around. So sometimes I download stuff and I add things that I shouldn't have. Now we're going to be playing with APIs. So that'll be web API. And okay, let's see, .NET new web API. I'm not going to add auth. And I will explain why in a second, but we need to give it an output name. So you can either use N for name or O for output. and they will both create a folder with your desired name. So minimal API with B2C. Just in case we have any conflicts. Okay. There you go. And now we can open any code. Code dot always opens in code, and I love it. So so it was on the auth component. Okay. So you'll notice, yeah, what? Oh, okay. Let's see if OmniSharp will start and whether OmniSharp, I think OmniSharp is still playing catch up with B2C, it's still playing catch up with .NET 6 components. So there might be some things not working perfectly when it comes to IntelliSense and IntelliCodes. I also have Copilot from GitHub, so sometimes everything gets confused there and they don't know what they're doing. Now, you will notice that, let me make this bigger so everybody can see. Now you can see. We do have controllers, so you lied to me, minimal API. It's not. It's not truly minimal. Now there's a question here, because when I was working on that last week, Damien Edwards and David Fowler were like, I can see controllers, so it's not minimal. But at the same time, you don't have to go truly minimal, especially if you are, like if you have a lot of components, you don't want to dump everything into one page, right? I've seen 19,000 long lines of code files. Don't do that. Don't be that person. That's not a workable solution. So this is a sample, and we're working on a very small kind of sample with the defaults. But minimal is quite nice when you have this kind of modularity where you put most of your code in other files, and then you call those classes or those functions into your minimal API if you're going to go that route. However, as your code expands and you have more and more and more solutions, as you have more functionality into your APIs, and if you're not doing microservices solutions, then you might want to go down the controller route and have everything mapped like that. Now, yes, there's only a program.cs. There's no startup. I don't think this is minimal API has program.cs, is it? Yeah, it's not a console app, so it still needs to have an entry point. I had to create my own PowerShell command so it works when I type VSC. If you're not on the insiders version. Yeah, you can actually map the command if you want to. So this is as minimal as you can get. And in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, let's see what, let me see, where is there you go, that's the one. So let's go into github.com. And I think it's Damien Edwards. He's got a sample for .NET 6. Damien Edwards. Oh, I had it there. Minimal API Playground. So he's got his source here. And he's got Dapper. The other Dapper. Not the DAPR. He's got the other Dapper, which does the ORM stuff. And he's got EF core as well. So here, as you can see, that's the entry point into everything, Exegate. Yeah, we got Swagger straight out of the template. Snazzy, it is snazzy. So as you can see here, he's got his minimal API, top level statements, no namespaces, and then he's doing some ORM wiring up for SQL, and his connection string. He's got a connection string in there, bad boy. And then he's doing all the mapping for his getters, right? For his HTTP GET calls. That's the closest you can get the templates. Now you'll notice that his project does not have any controllers, right? It's minimal API, everything is at the top level, no controllers. And that's what we're gonna do today as well. We're gonna remove the controllers from our project and we're gonna put everything into the program.cs. Because why not, right? We want to be as minimal. Like we did Python on Friday. It was great because everything or most of the stuff that we needed was in the main file, and then there was a separate API that was being called into the stuff. And I like that kind of model. So this is more simplified, but it feels a bit weird sometimes. I miss that would be beautiful for merge conflicts. Why? Oh, you mean for if you have extra files and somebody else doesn't have files, they have to merge or whatever? I don't see why this would be different, Bolt. I'm failing to see the reference here, but you may be right. Okay, okie dokie. Now let's go back into our code and let's strip out stuff that we don't need. Okay, so here I still have my Python stuff open. We don't need the Python stuff open. Everyone's editing the same file. That's what Git is for, small changes. Well, that's why I said that if you are building a larger project, then you're probably gonna have to have a little bit more structure there. And I doubt that everyone will be dumping everything in program.cs. Or how about you're working on this kind of a, let's say, you're working on app.map get. I don't know, you're working on, let's see. You're working on the weather endpoint, man. Don't touch anything else. And then somebody else is working on a different endpoint. I suspect that this is how it's going to be broken down. I suspect that. Yeah. Why would two people work on the same endpoint, right? Right? But it can definitely happen. Bad communication across the team, right? Okay, so you know what? Forecast. Do I need to actually uppercase it? Nah. Forecast. And then we'll do, oh, you know what? I can't close this here. And then we'll say that, arrow, return. We could do return. Okay, result. Ooh, new stuff. I haven't done it. And if your team is doing that, you can't have bad communication if you have no communication. If only we could put memes there, right? Exegate is saying, and if your team is doing that, it may be a good time to add controllers. Exactly. But then again, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll see how much mess this creates in the future and how people feel about it. But I suspect that the minimal APIs are geared towards microservices where your APIs do less work and they're distributed. But if that's the case, why not use Azure Functions? Controversial topic. Would you do minimal APIs or would you do functions? Now, I feel that minimal APIs, you have more control about how things are wired up, when they're wired up, and how they work. Azure Functions have other benefits here. That would be an interesting kind of a side-by-side comparison. Right. Let's leave that here for now. Let's comment that. What was that? Right. Let's see what we have here. We have wiring up there. We have some add controllers. We got Swagger. We got builder builds, and then map controllers. Use authorizations here. Okay. Now, what do we need to add authentication, you say? Well, we need, should we do the refactoring now and then add everything else? I think we should do that. Right, let's see what we have here. What is the weather forecast? Well, we have some data or some static content that we need to add and move somewhere else. And then we have the weather forecast that just returns that. Okay, let's grab this. And let's go back to our program in here. And then let's remove that. Do we need to add async here, you think? Probably not. Oh, that's so JavaScripty, right? Don't do that. Fine. We'll return something. Chill. God, Okay, now it doesn't know what summaries are because it's currently 84 degrees in the UK, 84 Fahrenheit. See, I love the fact that you're trying to be so inclusive, Bolt, but I can speak in Celsius. I come from a Celsius background. I come from Europe. 84 Fahrenheit. Damn, in September you got 84 degrees? 29 Celsius, yeah, almost 30 degrees. That's hot. That is hot for the UK. But I'm not going to complain because I know what happens when you complain about these things. I know what happens. Do not complain about the weather in the UK because you're gonna get rain for the next 3 months. Don't do it. Okay, let's get the summaries up here. And the summaries are here, so we're gonna grab that. And then we're gonna come back here. We're gonna add it at the very top. Now it starts to get muddy. Like, do I want this here? Do I want this here? Ah, fine. We only have one method. So the weather forecast, it is a class. It's here. So what I'm going to do, control dot, and it will actually add a using. So we can use it here. Now our method should work. Oh, this is not aligned. It hits my OCD. Okay, so now we have an endpoint called weather forecast, and we don't need this anymore. Do we have anything else in here that we need? We got loggers. Who needs logging? I mean, we could add a logger if we wanted to, but it would be at the top level, so it won't be weather forecast controller specific. And with that, say bye-bye to our folder. So we got everything we need. That's the weather forecast. Let's run it and call it. Well, do we need anything else? No, I think we are good. Let's build and run. Uppercase. I'm not upset with you, .NET. No errors. I'm surprised. I'm so surprised. We're running at port 5001. So let's bring our Thunderclient, our trusty Thunderclient. Let's type HTTPS because it is a GET. HTTPS localhost 5001. And then let's do weather forecast. It works. Thank you, everyone. That was good. I'll see you tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. We need to add authentication to this. But we're good. It is working. Let's see what we'll get if it's pressing. It's chilly now. It says it's chilly now. If we send it again, scorching. 44 degrees Celsius is not scorching. Sip it. Yeah, exactly. Let's put some Dapper on it and let's sip it. Put a container, right? So that is working. We're good. I am happy. Let's see what the code looks like now. So we have the app settings, which we don't need to mess with yet. I saw Christos is headed on Friday, so Thunderclient is it is a VS Code extension. It is an awesome extension because I take it with me everywhere I code. I don't have to install Postman all the time. It has support for HTTP2. They added support for proxies, and it's pretty awesome. You can have collections. It's you can have environmental variables. You can have your activity, remember stuff, and then I can do calls. It actually can do auth as well. So I even did a TikTok on this one, which was fairly popular. And people were like, "No, I'm using curl, man." It's like, fine, whatever works for you. I don't judge, right? Postman, right, in VS Code. Yeah, it is sick. I think there's also a REST client, if I remember correctly. Like there's another API. Oh no, I don't want those. What, dude? I have quite a few of them. Code spaces. I need to delete some of these, I think. Right. Okay. So let's see. Is it like REST client maybe? Yeah, it's REST client. But REST client is in 2 words. So this is 1.8 million downloads. That is a lot. And it also allows you to do auth here as well. You also get curl command, you got authentication for these things, which I need to try because they added support for Microsoft Identity Platform recently. Now, I don't know why they have this, and then they have this. I need to speak to them. This is the same. I know. We rebrand every 2 weeks, so I suspect that they are confused as well. REST client, you need to type it all yourself. I know that JP loves REST client, and in fact, he did a whole Azure AD automation, Azure AD app registration automation using Auth client, REST client, which is good because you can script it and then you can commit it, but this is a lot more GUI based, and I like this. So Thunderclient is my go-to when I need to test stuff, unless it don't work. Right. So we have this working. Everything is working as expected, I guess. So now we can just go back and add some NuGet packages and add some authentication. So we don't need to delete anything else. We can stop the run. Man, we need to get hot reload. Where's Jay? Fuel Snubble? JP is still not feeling well, my friend. He is he's recovering from his sickness. We don't know what it is. He's feeling unwell today, so I took the initiative to run the stream. And we're doing minimal APIs with .NET 6 and Auth. Man cold? You think so? He's got man flu? Very serious stuff. Yeah, I had it once. My wife was not happy. Man flu. I don't know. I think it's something serious because JP usually doesn't give up. So for him to say that he's not feeling well and he's gonna stay away means that he's got something serious. So we are all sending our best wishes to him. But thanks for asking. I'll let him know that you guys care so much for him. Guys and gals, right? Okay. Now, we got our API working. We know that things are running as expected. We made it more minimal because we removed the controllers. And now we need to go back and add some authentication. And to do that, we need a NuGet package called Microsoft.Identity.Web. The best way to install it is .NET. Add package Microsoft.Identity.Web. This is coming down. Let's see which version dumped on us. It got 1.16.1, which is the latest one, which is great, because that's what we want to use. So this one is the only thing we need. We don't need the web.ui. We don't need the graph client because we're not calling anything else. And we couldn't do actually graph with B2C. So I hope you've been paying attention for the last month and a year and a half. But now that we have the NuGet package, we need to go and change the app settings. And in here, we need to add an Azure AD B2C kind of configuration. Wait, nullable enabled by default? Yeah, man. You didn't see that? So what Bold is excited about is the fact that nullable is enabled by default. So handling better with null values, which is something that is out of the box. Overall, I find nullable support in C# valuable after using it for a while now, but in some files, I can't be bothered to fix all the issues. Yeah, he's like, you know what, it's great. I know it's not gonna be null, so stop bothering me. I feel you, Fuel. I feel you. Right, then we need some config settings. Now, I'm gonna cheat and grab them from a previous project I had because this is also something of interest because when you do --auth for your .NET New, so if you were to come here, I'm not gonna run it now, clear, if you do, or CLS, if you were to do .NET New web API --auth, and then you say individual B2C, then the template that would come out for the app settings.json is slightly broken, which upset me, and it's a bug, and we need to fix it. Checked integers will be enabled by default as well. Yeah, that's what the cheeky exclamation mark, yeah, excluding stuff, right? So here in our app settings, what we want to do is we want to add this. 2 commas. We don't need 2 commas. Now, by default, it will be login.microsoft.com/TFP, which is wrong. It doesn't work. It will actually break stuff. And the annoyance with that is that when you run the application, it will throw a cannot read string from config. And you're like, which string can you not read? And why can you not read it? So if you've not done quite a few auth projects with Microsoft.Identity.Web, then that error is so obscure that you can spend a whole day looking out for what is wrong. Sometimes it will also throw that error message if it requires a client secret and you don't have a client secret. Let's say you're using auth code with Pixie and you run your web app and suddenly it throws an error and you're like, what? Like, what's missing? I'm pretty sure I have all the config settings here. And it could be a client secret setting missing. So yes, that is a little bit painful. And I hope that the Microsoft.Identity.Web team can actually come up with more meaningful error messages, because just throwing a generic can read string from config is not fun. So anyway, what we have here is my B2C tenant. Actually, let's actually bring it. What? No, I didn't want to press that. I wanted to press. Where's my? No, I do not want to open a new window. I want to open my existing windows, which are all here. Here. So let's go to my B2C. Oh my God, Lila is here. Welcome, friends. Right on time. Right when the fun bit starts. Thanks for joining us. What have you been working on? By the way, if you are not following Lila, then I would highly recommend you do that. And I don't have my bot configured to point to people's streams. That's my bad. We'll fix it. But Lila codes it is awesome. And thank you for joining us today. I hope you had a fun stream. How's life in the UK? I hear it's very hot today. Our very good friend Bol said that it's roasting. Whoa, this looks so much like Express. I think I might fall in love with .NET 6. Exactly. .NET 6 minimal API stuff is going to be so awesome. And today we're looking at how to secure minimal APIs with B2C. This is just somebody else's sample. We were working on Eureka with YARP. Oh my God, I don't know anything in that sentence. What is Eureka and what is YARP? Does anybody know? Yeah, thanks for all the follows. I don't know why we have the names disabled. I want to turn it back on. I think it's like Roberta Bowles that said that we should not show names, but I'm thinking that we should bring it back. Yes, thank you, Exegate. Oh, it was C# microservices with Eureka and YARP. More frameworks to do microservices? God. Oh, yet another. It's a reverse proxy. Oh, I see. Be used as an API gateway. Interesting. Now, if I were to do authentication, because that would be my next question on that, would I do my authentication on YARP? Will that work? Have you guys done it? Should we do it? Should we do YARP with Azure AD and see how that would work? I have no idea. YARP authentication. Authentication and authorization with YARP. Let's see. You can have a custom policy. Okay. I'm listening. Authorization policy. Sounds good. Yeah. Like, add authorization. I have the policy. Oh, I see. So it's all done in C#. What are you YARPing all about? I'm YARPing about YARP. Yet another reverse proxy. I learned something new today, which is amazing. Oh my God. This is amazing. And I suspect that the YARP will act as a termination for our authentication, which means that it doesn't do pass-through, I guess. It will just terminate the call, validate the token, and then allow people to either call or not call the backend APIs. Oh, my stream is having connection issues. Do not do that to me, Restream, today. I'm not in mood. And then how you flow that information will depend on the type of authentication being used. There you go. The authentication process can be configured in the proxy application, will result in an authentication cookie. That cookie will flow to the destination server as a normal request header. I think we have something to talk about in the coming streams. I like the Yapper now. Yeah, no, sorry, it's not Yapper. It's Yarp. Do not confuse that with Dapper. Man, so many terminologies today. I'm getting confused. You can have client certificates as well. You can swap authentication types. Damn, nice. Don't flow naturally, of course, yeah. Or you can switch Windows authentication with a JWT bearer token. What is this I'm watching? Oh, CL Dubois is in the house. We're talking about you, my friend. We're talking about you complaining on Twitter that you want 4-day week, which is fine by us. Let's start a petition. CL Dubois, that's his name. That's how I pronounce it. I am sticking with it. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. CL Dubois. It's so cool. 4-day weeks. Well, we just had a raid from our very good friend Lila. I hope she's with us on the stream. If she's not, I'm pretty sure that she's spent and she's going to chill out for the rest of the evening because it's quite late in the UK. But she came in and said they were working on Eureka and YARP, and I was like, I don't know any of that. And then we started looking at what YARP is, which is a reverse proxy. And obviously I asked, can you do authentication with YARP? Because what use is there if you can't do authentication? And you can. So I'm really excited because I found something to play with in the coming days, and we'll stream that on an upcoming show. Like using YARP to do reverse proxy authentication, maybe pass the token down to our APIs to maybe do some more funky stuff. Isn't this cool? So I suspect that YARP is an API proxy, right? Wait, is this a Microsoft product? Do we own this? We build this. Okay. Right, so it's a Microsoft product. Or a Microsoft, what is it? A Microsoft tool, I guess. Okay. Interesting. Man, there's so many things I need to learn about. A whole list of a stack. Stack. Which one has less allocations? Let's go with the stack. I've got a whole stack of things I need to learn. And now YARP is in that list as well. I don't know how high up the list will be though. Let me know if you guys are working with YARP or you have any good samples that we can take and add some authentication to them. Then let's do it rather than me going from scratch. Or if you want to come on the show and play with YARP and me on doing authentication stuff, then again, let me know. Now we're getting sidetracked here. What were we doing before? Can't remember. We're going to sign into Azure Active Directory B2C. So let's do portal.azure.com. And it will sign me in with my fruit shop. Who's working on the fruit shop? Chat Doggy. That's a funky name. Hey, Chat Doggy, welcome to the stream. Is a fruit shop a repo that we can play with and have some fun? Let me know. 20 hopes to get to B2C because it's B2C. One day we'll fix this as well. It will happen. Okay, we're loading our B2C and I think I already have a client that can do what we need to do. So in here, in our app registrations, we already created an app registration. Come on, load. Thank you. We have minimal API.NET 6 there. And that should match our code. So let's check our code, B332F. And that is B332F. Let's make this bigger so everybody can see it. So that's our API. Sorry, that's our API app registration. And in here, we're exposing an API, which is this. Good. Now remember, this needs to be consented, because if you don't consent this, you won't be able to run your application. Sorry, not here. We're exposing it here. Right. So this is our full API. So if we click on this, that's our access as user. That's our API. Oh, I have a question. Is there a good B2C progressive profiling tutorial on the interwebs? B2C progressive profiling? Can you be a little bit more specific, Cyril Dubois? Hey, Barabosa616, welcome to the stream. Hello. I know what he means. Let me find the sample. Ooh, look at that. Bolt is on a roll today, answering all the questions. Bolt is on the case. Okay, so that's there. We have our API working, so we need to wire it up. And if we go back into our code now, then we'll play with this in a bit. The French pronunciation of Cyril Dubois sounds so classic. Exactly. We elevated Cyril Dubois to the next level. It will never be the same again. Right on, Cyril Dubois. So we're working on .NET 6 minimal APIs, and we just added some configuration. Oh, the sign-in policy. Yes, that is where our API is going to go to validate the incoming token. We need to use the same policy when we're coming in. So with that, I have that, I have this, I have this. Now we need to go and update here, this. We need to wire up our authentication, which is, it should be only a few lines of code. That's the plan. So here, yeah, thanks Bolt for dumping this project. Progressive profile, sorry, that's what you meant. The capitalization threw me off. So we need to do, we need to use the builder now. And in here, we need to say builder.services.add authentication. We do JWT bearer defaults dot. Let's resolve this. And then here, authentication scheme. And then dot add Microsoft Web API authentication. Microsoft Identity.Web API. We definitely need to have Cyril Dubois on an upcoming stream with a fancy tux. We've leveled up from CLW to Cyril Dubois. Yeah, he's got more points now. He's got more strike strength. Strike strength? Is that how you play Pokemon? I've never played Pokemon, so ignore me if I am wrong. Builder. Now we need to pull the configuration from. I've got my fancy tag shirt perfectly pressed to. Thanks for following our friends. That's Artemides. Thank you. And we have Sir Dujalot. Sir Dujalot. Oh man, that's a great name. Meltsaker and Nazgulks. I don't know what that means. And Nifine. Thanks everyone for joining and for following. That's awesome. Right, so what we're gonna do here is, and I mistyped Microsoft, of course, and it's like, what the hell are you trying to do? Yeah, and don't forget to join our Twitch. If you are working with Identity, or if you're working with Azure, then we have, sorry, I said Twitch, I should have said Discord. Make sure to join our Discord because this is where all the action is happening. And let me make sure our friends at Microsoft Developer are not feeling left out. So if you are working on, if you are watching us on Microsoft Developer, then be aware that we're also streaming concurrently at the 45 show, hence the branding and the name and everything. But we want to be where you are, so hence the multi-streaming. Okay, builder dot configuration. Now, in the olden days, oh, I didn't know Azure had take-home labs. Yeah, we got tons of stuff. Microsoft Learn, dude, just go there. And there are tons of take-home labs to do at your own time, at your own pace, and at your own comfort. And then join the Discord if you get stuck. Right. So in the olden days of .NET 5, .NET 3, and .NET Core in general, the configuration was exposed and was I think was initialized as part of the startup, and then you could access the configuration directly. Now, because the configuration is not exposed like that in minimal APIs, you need to go via the builder. So configuration, and then it will be get section, if I remember correctly. Get section, and then we need to find the name of our section, which was where we added the settings for Azure Active Directory B2C. So we need that. I'm disappointed in you, CL Dubois, that you didn't know that we have Takeaway Labs. Yes, Microsoft Learn is the place to be. If you haven't been there, then make sure to go, because it has a ton of content. Microsoft Learn. And then you can choose whatever path you want. You can do Azure, you can do .NET, you can do Python, you can do Ruby, you can do Java. If this thing ever loads, you know what? I think it's trying to authenticate me and it's going crazy. Why can you not authenticate me? It's like a demo fail. You know what? Maybe new in private. Huh, see, told you. You can get certification as well, not through here, but you can get prepared for certification, and then you can do customize my path. It will say, what do you want to do? You can say, I'm a developer. At the very bottom. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a lot of stuff. Beginner. I still consider myself a beginner, by the way. Oh, look at that. Well, you know what? I don't want to go through that route. I want to do Ruby. Ruby, we'll do browse the full catalog. You need to go here, and then here you can search for Ruby, I think. Or Rust. Was it Rust? I think it was Rust. Yes, you can learn Rust. Microsoft runs on Trust. That's not Rust. What is Rust? Don't confuse Trust with Rust. Set up Rust development environment. They have all these paths. They have JavaScript. They have Node. And people are like, but I came here for all the .NET stuff. Why is he showing me all these things? Okay, any course I start, it's always from beginner. You never know what information you're missing. I am still a beginner, my friend. 15, 16, how many years? 17 years now. I still feel like a beginner every time. What's the URL? The URL is here. Let me just put it here. You're absolutely right. You can just Google for Microsoft Learn, or you can come straight to the URL, Artemis, and you can get it here. Also, that sounds like a Greek name, Artemis, but with a D. Was that the intent? Right, okay. Back to our topic. We're being sidetracked. So program.cs, we have the get section. Then we need to add the section, which now I lost because it was Azure AD B2C, if I remember correctly. Let's make sure that we have the right one. I think it's case sensitive, or it could be case sensitive. So let's follow that. So we need that. That's the first bit. So this is now what wires up the authentication. Then we need add authorization. So builder.services.add authorization. Yes, our Artemis was taken. Yeah, but Artemis is pretty good as well. So that is add authorization here. And we need to app use authentication here. By the way, somebody said that Swagger came out of the box with the default template, which is great. But one of the problems I get with Swagger is that if you run it and then you want to use the UI to call your API, you actually have to pass a token. So if you haven't seen this, and if you don't know how to do it, then we have an awesome Let's see, dev.to45. So I put a blog post about how to secure your Open API, your Swagger stuff with Azure Active Directory. And this will wire up your authentication with auth code with Pixie in your Swagger stuff. And therefore, when you run it, I think I have an example down here. It prompts you for authenticating first, and then it will acquire a token, and then you can use that token to call your API, therefore secure end-to-end, even with Swagger. Hey, WBW V2, sorry, 72. WBW72. Hello from the Netherlands. Good evening, Netherlands. How are you today? Oh, you started a blog with your team? Thanks, man. They loved it. Glad to know I'm of assistance. Anytime you need me, just you know where to call. I hope everyone is good in the Netherlands. How are things over there? I hear that the UK is roasting and very hot today. So are you guys having a hot day as well? It looks like you're using Windows 11. Are you having any issues on it, or is it ready for dev? Dude, I've been using it for the last month and it's been stable. Didn't have a blue screen, nothing crashed. Everything seems to be working okay. Search and the main stuff like down here, which you can't see obviously, but everything is working as expected. Search is better. I like it. I would say go for it. It's well hot. Yeah. The Swagger bearer thing does my sweet. I feel you, Artemis. I feel you. But I have a solution for you. Now you can go to my blog post and do it. You can do the authentication step by step. There. Swagger authentication. Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, man, I don't know if you're a man or a woman, but I would say that Windows 11 has been super stable. Some people say it would be the Windows XP version of the latest OSs, which means that it's going to be well loved and everybody will enjoy it. I hope you feel the same. I feel the same. I like Windows 11. And yeah, give it a go. Apparently, JP is switching to a Linux-only OS for his main machine. What do you think about that? Linux only. I don't know how he's going to get access to all our corporate stuff. I know that my Mac could get me like 95% there. He's going to be sacked. You never get sacked for running Linux. We do most of the stuff in WSL. But he wanted to actually have Linux as his main driver. I don't know which distro he's using, but I am curious to see how that pans out and if he will ever be able to do anything. Yeah, hey, Graph TNT, welcome. We're just about to add identity, or we're just about to test the identity components in our application. So right now, I have the wiring up, what we're doing here. Kali Linux is trying to access your servers, would be an interesting outcome. Yeah, like I don't know how that's gonna work. I reckon I could get away with Linux at my work. Well, I'm not saying that it's not good. I'm not saying that it's not going to be smooth or run well. My concern is that a lot of tools internally at Microsoft have a reliance on certain things. Like, I think we kept IE in Windows, in the latest Windows 10, for example, because certain things were only accessible via IE. I believe that all these have been migrated to a more modern platform, but like there are some obscure tools. I think if I remember correctly, one of them needed Silverlight. Yeah, you had me right, Silverlight. So if everything has moved off IE, there's no dependency on Windows components, then you're good. But like our expenses app, it's a Windows app. It's a Windows UI, Windows Metro, whatever you want to call it. Shh, did I say Silverlight loud? People are like, damn, Silverlight. Yeah, I know. But if everything is moved out, then it's fine. But as I'm saying, like our expenses report has a web UI, which is awful. Like you can't use it and certain things don't work. And there is a Win UI or Metro or whatever you want to call it, modern desktop app that does our expenses. If you don't have a Windows machine, you can't do it. I know quite a few people that were running a VM just for the expenses app. at the same time, we don't really have any expenses these days because we don't travel or we don't buy anything. So we might as well just move to Linux. Silverlight, and I thought my I9 requirements were bad. Why do you have I9 requirements? Do you work for the public sector? I know in the UK quite a few companies had dependencies on I9s or whatever. The only thing that would stop me from the legacy app would be legacy apps written with .NET Framework. I agree. But many of these apps now can be moved to .NET Core as long as you don't have UI dependencies or Win32 dependencies, which I suspect WPF and WinForms will have. So you can run them on .NET Core, but you still need to be on Windows. I remember that was always the question I was getting when I was speaking to companies about .NET Core. Everything was modern at some point. I agree. Everything was modern at some point. Silverlight did run on Linux, didn't it? It was a browser extension, so it could run everywhere, I think. So cool tech now is going to be meh in 5 years. Well, you know what? I think, thanks for following Vim Warrior. That's an awesome name. You know what? I'm going to change that thing, so I don't want to hide names anymore because I like how people, I like announcing people that follow. Thanks very much for following us. So don't even get me started on IE thing. Yeah, that's NHS. I was going to name drop NHS, but at the same time, I didn't want to drop NHS. It's fine. It's not as bad as my wife's city council where she was working, where they had a massive dependency on MS Access for quite a few operations. So it could be as bad as that. Count your blessings, I guess. Right, where were we? Identity. Well, I work partly with COBOL. Kudos. I have not touched and I haven't seen COBOL in action. I don't think I could do anything with that. We have ad authorization. We got our identity components here. That's hardcore, exactly. Fuel Snabble is hardcore. Do you have your own Twitch stream or are you only streaming on MSFT Dev? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, our friends. We are both streaming on the 4 to 5 show, and we're also streaming on the Microsoft Developer. I'm monitoring both conversations. Poke balls. Reading that out loud was probably not the best. Yes, so we're streaming there as well. I am monitoring both conversations. I'm trying to make everybody feel inclusive. Thanks for following. Right. Oh, I see you jumped over. Nice. Yeah, our main channel is the 4 to 5 show, but we're also co-streaming on the Microsoft Developer because there are people over there that may not want to jump on the 4 to 5 show, for example, or they don't know about the 4 to 5 show, and now you do. Right. What else is left to do? I think if we run it now, we'll probably work, although our API is not secured yet. So right now, as it stands, we have a requirement for people to pass an authentication or get authenticated, but the API endpoint does not require that, so we need to add it. This isn't minimal, not even using add Microsoft. Fine, Bolt, fine. Builder.services.add Microsoft Web API authentication because Bolt wants it this way. And then in here it needs a config. Oh, it needs the configuration. Now, will it work with? Oh yeah, okay. So we need builder.configuration, and then in here we need to pass the connection string name, which is Azure AD B2C. Are you satisfied? Ask and you shall get, as they say. So you like it better now? Let me make this smaller. Let's see how many lines we can concat this into. I think I have everything I need for now. Although, let's add the authentication here. So here, what we want to do is we want to expose the HTTP context object. And there we want to do context dot has, what is it? Verify user has any accepted scope. Single line minimal API, do it. Yes. Let's pass a random string here for now. String, so it should be new string. And then here the access underscore as user, which should be a string, by the way. A string array with no strings. And I think we have an extra closing bracket here. Let's close that there. And then this is where we might come across an issue. Context verify user has single quote, double quote. Is that it? Ah, no, that's not it. It's my, you think that was it? No. Yes, so thank you, Veeam Warrior. Caprino, what's going on here? Do lines matter? Ah, she didn't say it. Let's see. Right. So we're doing minimal API. So we're trying to be as minimal as we can. Now, why is this? HTTP context does not contain a definition for verify user has any accepted scope. Let me build this first and see if this gets resolved. I'm pretty sure it's gonna barf out on that one. Oh, I know what it is. Could be that then you want new access since. I like it. We don't even need that. Now it's building. Is it gonna work? It needs to be this, right? No, sorry. Bold. You're leading me down the wrong path. So Caprino, we're doing minimal APIs with, now I suspect that this is Omnisharp not liking it. I can't find it. And I also think that this has to do something with verify I failed you. Never again. Never again. So if I remember correctly, this has been a part of our discussion with our teams, because I was under the impression that this had been removed from the API. Random is thread safe now? Of course not. So if I remember, where did I find it? February 17th. I think that this was removed here, April 23rd. Verify. Verification, verify scopes. Yeah. Now, it says that from Microsoft.Identity.Web 1.6, we need to use required scopes. And that before Microsoft.Identity.Web 1.6, this was, that could be achieved by using verify user has any accepted scope. However, the last time I was looking into that, and this is going to be part of our discussion with the .NET team this week, is that we definitely need to fix that. We can't have an attribute assignment to our API endpoints. It needs to be an extension method, so we need to use metadata that can be read by the middleware to fix this if we're going to go down the path of required scopes. So that needs to be changed from an attribute to .NET Core stuff, and that is happening. And how is attribute specified in minimal API? I'm thinking, yeah, exactly. So we can't have that. We can't have that. So bear with me. And what about if you need to use a different auth scheme? I agree. Yeah. So here, this was not supposed to work. And now, if I remember correctly, last week when I was playing around with it, I thought I had to use a custom verifier or auth or scope verifier, which I built before. But when I was playing last week, I found that you could actually use this API, the verify user has any accepted scope, with the current version of Microsoft.Identity.Web, which sounds weird. Just validating that is the case, yes. So this one is like, you shouldn't be using it because you should be using that. But if we build it, it works, which I suspect is just OmniSharp barfing out. Have I not saved this? Oh, that's the app settings to JSON, which I haven't saved. Yeah, so for that question, which is a very valid question, thank you very much for that, Mr. Bolt. You can actually do something like GitHub 425. So I think it was also in the dev.to. I have somewhere here, I got all the repositories, and somewhere here I have not Blazor, API, Swagger, so many repos. Actually, it was a while since I did it, so that's why I can't find it. Minimal weather. Okay, so that was me playing around 3 months ago. And in here, there's an Auth Helper that allows you to actually do the user has any accepted scopes kind of thing, where you extend your HTTP context and you can look into the claims and check whether the user has the right claims. So I built this. And in your code, you could do something like this. So, however, this is old. I think this is using preview 2 or preview 3. So things have changed a little bit from here. Yeah, we need to use CORS, by the way. It is an API. You want to call it from somewhere else. And I was using the Auth Helper, user has an accepted scope, and I would pass that in, which worked. And when I was building, I was looking around with that, I thought I need to do the same, but apparently I don't. So user has an accepted scope still works, I think. We'll test it, but it might not work for long. That API may go, so we need to fix it. Oh, it looks like you can add attributes like enable CORS. Yeah, man. No, I don't think you can do that anymore. This is not the way to do it in .NET 6 Preview 7. So I'll show you how to do it. But yeah, I'm really curious to see if verify has any accepted scopes works. That still may be available, I guess. But let's see. For this one, I was looking at how. Let me see, Damien. Damien, he was doing that. I think he had his course here. Program. There's nothing wrong with stealing other people's stuff. He doesn't have course. Doesn't have course? Huh. Okay. Interesting. Tags. Oh, he's getting HTML there. Not good. That's a lot of code in one file. Doesn't sound minimal to me. I'm just kidding. With tags, there's a lot of map get, map to do's, map put. Somewhere down here, he must have. Ooh, he's got all the classes in there as well. Maybe it's a method of the back of required authorization. Yeah, it's not there. So the way that it's not available yet. I know that the required scopes is not going to work out of the box the way it is, but the way to make it work is right. Let's go back to our code. So we have this one, which may or may not work. We'll see how it goes. And then we need to do here the dot requires authorization. And we've added the authorization, we've added everything else. So here, course. I think we need to add course, otherwise it's not going to work. So for that to work, we need builder.services.course. And here we need some kind of a policy, I guess. Options dot add default policy or add policy. So we need a policy. We'll build it. We'll name the policy. Allow any. Right? And then here, what do we need to do? Course policy. We actually need the policy. Sound like a delegate? Not a 0. Oh. O dot. I don't want options. O dot allow any origin. Ta-da! Allow everything. Let me in. I think we need 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And that seems to work. Now I need to add the. I think we need to add the course thing. I know that's the name of it. Yeah, we need to use it. Now remember, in the middleware, it's important where you declare stuff. So we may have to. What? I don't want a constructor. Sometimes Copilot is a little bit weird. Use course. And with that, I think we have everything we need to test this API. Will it run? Let's find out. .NET run. Yes. Yes. I haven't mistyped this, have I? No. Now, there is one thing that we may need to change, and this is this, which I know that in the past this worked. Will it prompt me for a restore? No, it doesn't. That would be interesting if it's in 16.1, but it's not. But did you not build this before and just worked? AWS Dynamo. Do you work for Microsoft? I do work for Microsoft. I work for the Microsoft Identity. I am good. Thank you for joining us on the stream today. AWS Dynamo is asking stuff. Maybe a stupid question, but would you have any preference while hiring a guy with AWS skills and AWS certifications versus having Microsoft Azure certifications? Me personally, no. In fact, I would welcome AWS certification and knowledge because that would give us a nice outside perspective. I don't like people that just drink the Kool-Aid. I like to dabble around with other cloud providers and other languages and frameworks, so I'm not always first party. I still love Azure and I still love .NET. So, but it gave me a new perspective on appreciating stuff that we do as well, or the things that we don't do. The new minimal API stuff is actually pretty cool because it looks like Python or Node, which I like. And .NET Core has done a fantastic job in moving away from these hard dependencies on operating systems and IDEs into making it available to everyone. So from that perspective, I would say that everyone is welcome. Dude, you got the skills, join us. Again, there should be no dependencies. I mean, from my perspective, as I said, I would totally value having somebody with diverse experience and background in joining our team to help us out. Now, some teams may require you to have Azure knowledge before you work for them. So I don't know if you're directly getting hired for Azure, that might be a requirement on top of your AWS certification. And for certification, there's diverse feelings. Like I know people that have paid or cheated through their certification. Does that make them more qualified than somebody else? Probably not. But if you truly studied and if you truly know the platform, then I think that's a valuable skill to have. Certification also provides you with structured learning, and they point you to the right things to learn. So if you've done the work, then I think that's a valuable skill to have. It also shows that you can pick up new skills and new knowledge and apply it during exams and hopefully during work. So that's a long-winded question to answer to say, absolutely, man. If you want to join us and apply, we have a ton of jobs right now going across all divisions. Make sure you go into careers.microsoft.com and apply for a job. See what happens. Good luck to you if you want to join us. I hope you make it. And we always need more clever people to work for us. Right, .NET build. Let's see if 1.16. No. There's not going to verify user has an exit scope. Now this is weird. This is awkward because I made it work last week. But in the spirit of saving time and in the spirit of where's my there? Is it this one? Where is it? This one? Did we lose my GitHub repo? No. So I would say we're gonna cheat and steal our code from here, the Auth Helper. Let's steal the Auth Helper. Because we need to have a way to validate that the incoming scope is correct. Or that the token that is being passed has the right scope. Also, how valuable do you think MSFT values a CS degree? I'm struggling to get notice I tried applying. Is there a way to get JWT B2C from Postman? Yes, it is. I think we're gonna try that now. You can also get your JWT token from directly in B2C. Let's see, where's my, is it this one? Yeah, we have B2C here. So if you go into your user flows, is it this one that has JWT there as well? Yeah, I'll get back to that in a second. Just about the CS degree. Yeah, so here, for example, we can say minimal client, I think it's at the very top. And then you need your access tokens, that, run user flow. Is that, where's it going? Oh, I need to update. Yeah, I will actually come back to here and you can use the token. But yeah, can you link us later to GitHub Repo because this is what I'm actually exactly doing for my job. I can do. Now, that repo is working. I don't know why it's working with the verify user has an exit scope. I don't know if I'm doing something different in that repo. View codes. That has a couple of packages that I don't have here. So maybe that's what we need. Before we start adding code, let's do that. No, definitely not. Well, I don't think that's gonna change anything. I wonder if they moved it to a different namespace. Ooh. So now it's restoring stuff. Okay, so going back to AWS Dynamo, CS degree. It does not require you to have a CS degree. If you are based in the US, then applying for this job is as easy as just applying for this job. I don't think we value a CS degree more than having proper real world experience. At the same time, I don't know, I'm not a hiring manager. So if I see two people sending CVs and they like one of them is more qualified, has more experience, and we need somebody with that experience, without a CS degree, then we'll hire them. I don't see that as a barrier to entry. Algebra 97 says, can you link onto the GitHub repo? Yeah, I will add it to GitHub as soon as we finish this one, but I'm curious to see whether that will That's not going to solve the problem, because that should be part of HTTP context. And HTTP context says, I have no idea what you're doing there, man. So I am, right now, I'm dumbfounded to understand why. Remote job at Microsoft? Absolutely. We have lots of remote jobs these days. I like how this is turning into a hiring, like a job fair. I don't mind. Honestly, keep asking. I love it that you guys are asking and want to work for us. It's great to know that there's interest at Microsoft, especially from new talent. So absolutely. I am dumbfounded. Context. I'll link to that repo, which is working. I don't know why this one is not working. And it's exactly the same as the other stuff. It's literally identical. But anyway, let's not spend any more time on that. Let's go and grab my Auth Helper. And let's use that to verify that the incoming token has the right scopes. Where is that? Where is that? Here. And there. And let's copy this. Let's come in here and create a new file. Auth helper.cs. Yeah, many of the jobs that we're actually hiring for these days are for remote as well. There we have, and I don't think that's, is that it? I think it's missing some namespaces here, and it's just gonna barf now, but because like it's the claims and everything else, I think, yeah, there you go. Claims principal, don't know what you're doing here, there. Let's restore this one as well. Oh, that's fixed. Good, good, good. Anything else? Yes. HTTP status code, we need to fix this, and we need to fix this as well. Okay. Culture info, we're doing a comparison. We want to make sure that we're comparing. So this class, are you using the right namespace? I fixed the namespace, yes. Minimal API with B2C 2, because that's the weather forecast here. Yeah. Oh, you mean for this one? We're definitely using the right namespace. It's just a case of this is not part of the HTTP context anymore. And I have no idea how my sample code last week worked, but we're doing it the way that it should be until we have a proper fix and we have the attributes there for required scope. So this doesn't work, which is fine. Let's see, Auth Helper. Where's my Auth Helper? It's static class, which is good. And then if we go back to the program, we should hide or comment this line out. And we should say Auth Helper dot user has any accepted scopes. And then we need to pass the context. And then we need to pass the compressed version or the minimal version of the scopes that we need to do that. Not fancy overloading the HTTP context namespace and saving a using statement. We could do that. What is it not like? Cannot convert from system.context to this. Can you see me? Should be back now. Is it my connection? What? I am back. It hasn't updated on my end. Everything seems awful. I didn't catch the start of the video, but I'm planning to rewatch it. Was the setup B2C recorded? No, we did not set up the B2C stuff. I don't know why Restream is struggling today. My bandwidth is good. God damn. Video is stuttering. I don't know why. Like, really, I don't know why. Let's save this. So the problem here is that the HTTP context that we're working with is not the right context. We need to pass a different context. It says, cannot convert from system to Hmac or HTTP context. So which one does he want? Is this system.net.http context? Okay. So this needs to be system.net.http context. Are you happy now? Does not exist in namespace. What? System. Okay. I missed one HTTP. Fine. Thanks for letting me know that this is working better. HTTP does not exist in namespace. Yes, it does. What are you talking about? System.net.http.http context. Maybe I'm missing assembly? No. System.net. Please recommend courses for mid-career change in IT. Oh, wow. Are you missing a variable name? Why would I need a variable name here? Oh, yeah. System. Oh, God. Because I am a Muppet. Content instead of context. Yeah, all fixed now. I know what the problem was, and apologies for Restream messing with us, but it was HTTP content instead of HTTP context. And I'm pretty sure that if I do context now, it will say, yes, it's there. Got? Oh, is it? Is it not? Doesn't like it? Well, it's definitely now that. I was using HTTP content, by the way. I had a typo. You lost me for a second. Sorry, guys. I'm back now. It's definitely context. We don't want content. We want to go into the pipeline. But it still says that verify user has an accepted scope is not there. Oh, there you go. We're missing a namespace. Ha! Okay. So color me stupid for actually messing up with the type. I said content here, which obviously it is valid, but it's not in the context of the HTTP context. Ha. So now that is there. So I wasn't going nuts last week. And we don't need the Auth Helper anymore. Bye. But, that's available for you if you actually want to go and do your own custom kind of validation. But we have that. You know what? It's all wired up with 15 minutes to go. It's not stupid. It's part of being a dev. Yeah. It's like, I was like, why? Why is context not working? Yes. So now with that, I think we're ready to actually test it. Now, what I've already said about the fact that verify user has any accepted scope is still valid. I don't think that API should be exposed, and it could actually go away very, very soon. So we still need a way to use the non-attribute, but we need to have an extension method in here, very similar to the require author. I will say, user has any accepted scope or required scope here, and then pass the scope array to make it work, which is not available yet. We're working on that. Okay. What theme is this? My theme is bearded theme. Control-Shift-P, theme. It actually dropped my, am I back? Should be back. Can you all see me? Looking up in the sky. I hope I'm back. Okay, right. Few minutes, let's test it out and see what happens. Remember, we're gonna use our this theme over here, web forecast. We're gonna run this, but the app is not running yet, so the API is not running. So let's run the API. Run. Now, see, .NET content. If we've been paying attention to the error messages, everything would be good. You can see me. Thank you, Mr. Twist, and thank you, Frankly Delicious. These are some lovely names. You guys are making my day. We're running at port 5001, so that's the one. And I'm gonna run it, and we're going to fail. This is gonna be a 401 unauthorized. Authentication is working as expected. And we're just about to add authentication into our test client. So let's see. Back into our B2C, which is here. An app registration that is configured already for our Thunderclient. Find it. When it loads, minimal API.NET 6. We're going to grab the endpoint for the authorization. Over here, no, my CPU is doing absolutely fine. It's Restream. Now we're going to go back to our Thunderclient, and we're going to do all of this. And then we need to change the policy name to that. And then we're going to do the same for the token URL. So let's grab this and put it here, and then change the policy name to be that. I know that somebody asked me how to do it with Postman. It should be exactly the same setting. Callback URL is the same. If we go back into our app registration, the callback URL into authentication, it's a web with that callback. We're not using implicit flow. That was the token URL in the auth. Did we do that? Did I do that? Did I mix up my endpoints and I'm not paying attention? Yes. Thank you, Bolt. If only I could grab and that here does work. But fret not, because it's just authorized in the end, if I remember correctly. Bolt's been paying attention. Did they have them the other way around in B2C? Because if I remember correctly, in Azure AD, they're auth first, token second. Or am I wrong? Okay, and then in the API permissions, this is very important because Azure Active Directory B2C is very different to Azure AD. You need to actually add it here. You can't do dynamic consent, and you need to grant admin consent for your API permission. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it. So here we are. I think I'm frozen in some parts, I'm not frozen in other parts. I tried to do it with Postman, but I got an error saying that I can't get a JWT from Postman. Guess I was missing this. I actually did a blog post, by the way. If we go back into here, dev.to45, so calling an Azure AD secured API with Postman. This is for Azure AD. Let me know if you want a version for B2C as well, and I'll be happy to write it up. But it's very similar. It's just the fact that you need to do the API permission admin consent. So with that, we have this. We need a client ID. Let's go and grab the client ID from our here, overview. Let's grab that. I'm telling you, we'll make it happen before 10 o'clock. We'll wrap it up. And then we need a client secret. and we'll need the full scope. So back here, no, that's not the right one. I pressed Postman by mistake. We need a certificate, we need a secret, we need a new one. So add, I don't want to be doxxed by you. Can you link to it? Sure, would love to. Try to do. I don't have a link to, I'll put a link for the Azure AD one. Just give me a second. Let's do the secret. And finally, the do not copy my secret. And then finally, the API permissions. We need to come here and grab the whole thing and put it down here. You can add a nonce if you want for state and then generate token. The app is running, right? The API is running? It's running, good. Generate token, prompts for authentication. Success, it says. You can close the tab. Holding my breath. Will it work? Do we have a token? We do have a token. Boom. All we have to do now is call it. Yes. End-to-end. It's all working. Okay. We got it. Right. This is perfect. Now, what I want to do next, boom, exactly code with Sean. That's what I was expecting to see. Now, somebody has asked about the link to my blog post, so let's do that. Hey, Sean, thanks for joining us, man. So where's the blog post? Blog post is here. This is for Azure Active Directory. Yes. Algebra 97. Showing your age as I am too. So that's the link to the blog post. Yeah, it's working. So with that, what do I want to do now? What did I want to do? There was one thing I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, what I always like to do, which is fun, is to actually break the code and make sure I get a 403. So here I'm going to change that to 2, which we know it's not it's a different scope, right? So what will happen if we acquire a token and call that same API, and that API says, well, I need a different scope. So let's run it. And what do you think we should get now? You're welcome, Algebra 97. What do you think we should get now? 401, 403. I'm taking bets. Goes once, goes twice. No one. Okay. Well, I think some of you already know the answer, so you don't want to give it away. Perfect. That's the answer we were expecting to get. The scope, or SCP, I always test the negative. Last week on the Python stream, I came across a weird issue where I was acquiring the token and I was only asking for one API permission, but it was returning all the API permissions. So when I was testing the negative, I couldn't validate that because I was always getting the right, I was always getting the full API permissions that were consented. And I was banging my head against the wall. Now I changed the API to expect a different scope and I got the same error message. But I guess you won't take a JWT. The access as user 2 doesn't exist. Well, yeah, it doesn't. So Algebra 97 says that this doesn't exist. From an API perspective, it doesn't really matter. It just says, well, what is the scope? And then this one would try to match the JWT scopes with that. And then if you can't find it, then it says you have a 403. So when you configure this, you need to know what the scopes, the configure scopes are. Obviously here we're cheating a little bit and we're breaking stuff, but this doesn't do a call back to Azure Active Directory. This actually cracks open the JWT and says, find me the scope, SCP or scope claim inside the token and try to match it with what I'm expecting here. So This is just a helper class or helper API method to help us validate that the token has the right scope, which you should always be testing. Now, let's go. Somebody said, can I get the actual GitHub repo? Yes, you can. Yes, you may. Would love to help you, my friend. So here, let's go to, this is mine. Yeah, that's the 45. So, and then here we have a minimal API with B2C, which has the identical code as this one. It is minimal. The real question is, when does context verify user outweigh having middleware on all the endpoints? You're absolutely right. Although the required scope will be probably be applied to individual API endpoints, because different API endpoints will probably have different scope requirements, and therefore having it through the middleware is actually nicer. Plus, it will be less code to write. I think you missed my question trying to post it again here. Are there any midlife career change courses in technical field? Are you going from IT to something else, or are you going from something else to IT? Amantakar. Yeah, let me know. Let me know. I mean, courses. I don't know if there are any courses, but there's a lot of people out there that are happy to mentor. You are 19. You want to go somewhere else? Midlife career change course in technical field. You're an IT. There it is. Oh, did I not post a repo? Sorry, I need to post a repo. You're absolutely right. Talking to myself here because nobody asked. There you go. And there you go. I'm afraid we're going to run out of time trying to do technical support role. Okay. You're going to go to that, or are you going from that to something else? What are you going to go to? We got 2 minutes. I'll try to answer it. Thank you for the repo. You're welcome. Want to go to another level? Like leveling up promo? I would say that is very dependent to the company that you work for and what they expect from you. Leveling up is very subjective to your manager, and then there are criteria on every company. Like for Microsoft, there's a whole set of criteria for leveling up. So this is something that you need to discuss with your manager. I would say hard work always pays off, but from my perspective, speak to your manager, find out what it is that you need to do to level up. Be honest, say, I need a promo, or I want a promo, and I want to know what to do. The other way to promo is to move to a different company and then bring your skills and abilities into that new company and require more money and better level. I've done this in the past. But if you don't want to move out, then the best way, if you want to level up internally, then it is what you can do. I think he's currently at the technical support role, and they want to move up. And the way to do it is, as I said, speak to your manager and see what you can do. Okay, we got 1 minute. We need to wrap it up. Bolt, I so wish that you win the lottery, because that would be awesome. Before I have to rush again, the raid timer. Thanks for the stream, Christus, and I hope JP feels better. Thank you, Bolt. Thanks everyone for joining me today. Let's find somebody to raid, and I have no idea who's actually streaming right now. So let's find. Let's see. Tweets 45. So. And then let's see. Oh, we got C# Fritz, we got Lana, and I would say let's go to our friend Fritz. What is Joding doing today? Python. Making programming language in Python. Sorry, he's writing he's creating a programming language on top of Python. I mean, this is interesting. What about Joel, real-time chat with Ratchet and WebSocket. Where do you guys want to go? He does a top funny series on YouTube too. Oh, okay. Christmas series, funny, though really useful. The Azure setup required for the minimal API repo is similar to the Azure AD Security API, or will you post a separate blog post on how to do the setup for the Azure stuff? That is a very good question. It's similar, but not exactly the same. Right, okay, let's go to Fritz because he's the dude. Right, thanks everyone for joining me. I will be back on Friday. Maybe we will be back on Friday with JP. I don't know. Make sure to join our Discord because you can answer ask all these questions there, and we do our best. Bolt is fantastic on Discord as well. So thanks everyone. Let's do our raid. So it'll be that, and then from here, start the raid, and we'll be ready in 2 seconds. So thanks everyone. Raid now. 4, 3.